running HDMI now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Test, test, test. This one. This one. Turning it on, apparently. These are different mics.
Seems to be working.
No, I know why it's not working, because I can't turn it on. Yeah.
Power switch helps.
Right, I know. This is a new thing, by the way. We've never used these mics before. I'm real glad I'm doing this now, because I would have looked real fucking dumb in about 30 minutes.
Hey, you know what? I'm fine with not doing this now. We can make that happen.
We can check the levels. I'm just saying that's why I couldn't get the mic on, because
No,
he
I'm
put a
good.
new mic up here.
No, it's fair point. I understand. Give me 30 seconds.
Yup. SecKC rap. It's just a freestyle, the SecKC rap. I don't know how to rap, my dude. If I could, I'd make more money than I do, dude. The SecKC rap has no lyrics. We're just checking levels. We're just checking levels. Just checking levels. How does this sound? I hope it sounds good. If you don't think so, then I think you should. This is why I don't rap, cause my rhymes are rack. I can't rap for shit. How about that? I guess the levels are good.
and how the MacBook Pros just suck the battery. Like,
All the
it is
time.
not very impressive as
I
compared
know.
with an Air.
Yeah, I agree.
It really isn't. So,
Does Aaron need my laptop too?
we haven't talked about it. He's here somewhere. I was just talking to him.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out when to put him on. He's going to do a tool talk. And
Okay.
so basically you're off at 10 after, he's on. And then we'll do a either a 5-minute break or we'll put the tool talk right before Arden, one of the two.
Okay, that works. Either way, I think that'll be alright.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
Yo,
How are you?
What's up?
I'm alive. Yourself?
Not alive.
I've been there. Earlier today I was there, but I'm doing better now.
What?
Food helps.
Well, only slightly. But I would know.
Food helps.
Just a little bit. Not much. Oh, we should probably put it in the email for if you're speaking to say, bring a pair of sunglasses because the stage light was right or will blind you, right?
We don't want people wearing sunglasses. Except for Lauren, she can get away with it.
She's a badass.
Like my wraparounds?
Wow. No comment.
See, he's being polite for a change. That's good.
See that?
That's pretty cool.
I might have seen that
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
already,
I'm sure you did.
but it's so cool. So.
Okay, so you good?
I'm good.
Who do you want to introduce then later? You want to introduce Arden, SecDSM, or do you want to introduce Nate?
I'll do
you know
Nate. Yeah. Nate already gave me an intro, so.
Okay, good. So, you got him.
Okay.
I think his is going to be really good.
I think so too.
Real quick about the mic. Who's MC?
We have a floating MC. It's basically going to be Lauren and Alex. So,
Yay!
Why?
Love
Hey,
sharing
look.
responsibility.
look, as long as it's not Bill, your job's easy.
It's
Well,
true.
really it isn't.
It is.
I'm gonna
trust
get a
me.
drink.
See, here's how interested she is in this conversation.
Wow.
These lights go off. There's a different light set, so you'll be okay. You're fine. So this is nice.
Thank
I think
you.
It was Nate that was asking for that.
It was $10. So I got it from work and it was like, sweet.
So we got 2 mics up here. Just don't touch them both.
You can touch them both, I don't care. One of them runs to Joel, this one runs to Joel, this one runs to me. Oh, by the way, for the both of you, the way this is working tonight, this doesn't have a mute, so the power button is your mute. Okay. It's right here, so
Where is it?
right here.
That was actually really well done, Noah.
Thank you.
Like, that's a really low-end hack right
How do
there.
I hit it?
Just down.
Just don't
Down
push
is
the whole
off,
thing out.
up is...
How strong is it, Noah? Yeah,
It's
okay.
pretty strong. I took a sledgehammer to it earlier, it's still there, so.
So basically, we need Alex and Lauren to not. They just need to talk to the mic, not hold it.
I mean, I have the handheld. I just had this one set up for Nate, but also I figured out something really here.
bestest monthly InfoSec event in the entire world, and that is not biased. That is a proven, stated fact. Go look at our Wikipedia. We meet the second Tuesday of each month here at Kansas Hall in Overland Park, Kansas, Patch Tuesday, so you can drink away your sorrows from applying all those patches today. So meetings are unrated. So I say fuck a lot, and a lot of other people are going to say fuck a lot. So sorry if you brought your children. The exit's in the back. So we do have a code of conduct here. It basically boils down to don't be a dick. Treat people how you want to be treated. If we catch you not doing that, there will be consequences. If you need to make a private complaint, look for the folks in the yellow badge. I don't think there's a lot of them here tonight, but I'm one of them. Come find me, come talk to me. We'll handle it gracefully and make sure that everything gets taken care of. So, destroy no data, maintain no persistence, above all, do no harm. These are the themes of SecKC. We are not here to hack the planet as much as some people like to think. As long as you have authorization, it is all good. But we do encourage shenanigans for those of you who went through Corey Kennedy's challenge. Again, warning, state and federal law enforcement officers are encouraged and do attend SecKC meetings. I've met a few of them myself. We don't keep a member list, so good news is you're safe there. But just be aware that this is something that happens here at these meetings. Everyone's approachable, meet someone new. There's a lot of big names and big faces here, and a lot of big personalities, but there's also a lot of little ones. Everybody's got a story, so I encourage you to reach out. Whether it's your first time, 5th time, or 100th time, like some of us veterans. Yeah, we do have stories, and we'll get into some of those stories here before I end. But everybody's super friendly, and I encourage you to reach out. Some of the best friends I've made are from SecKC. So, challenge ideas, not people. We are not here to attack people. You can attack ideas, that's great, not a big deal. But again, this kind of comes back to our code of conduct. Don't be a dick to people, right? Teach and learn from each other. So in the back, if you all will turn your heads 180, all the way back there, you'll see a giant wall with Boulevard on it. This is the shut the fuck up wall. If people are presenting, I want you behind that wall if you want to talk to other people. When we get close and start talking really loud, you can't hear the speakers up front, and as a speaker who presented last month, you can really notice. It makes you feel like shit because you spent like hours working on this presentation and people are just talking through it because they don't care. So please, go behind that wall. Feel free to have your conversations with all your new friends, but be respectful of people on stage. SecKC happens because of volunteers and sponsors, and we do not have a sponsor tonight, so thank yourselves. Round of applause. Yay! But we do run an awesome ship of volunteers. Some of them are here, some of them are not tonight. If you're interested in volunteering, there's a channel on our Slack called SecOps. I'd encourage everyone to get involved. There are little and big volunteer positions, and we can talk about a few of them in a minute here. So if you want to be the change you want to see at SecKC, go to seckc.org/connect. There's ways to get involved in the community, get involved in volunteering, and just make this organization super, super awesome. We got to this size because of people like you and me and Bill and Aaron and God knows who else, and it really shows. We do use Eventbrite to order pizza, so some of you might have gotten emails. Usually when we have a sponsor, they'll purchase pizza for us. If you want to be counted for that pizza and make people like FireEye and Exabine and Optiv buy us tons of free food, feel free to use a fake name like Joey McBoaterface and sign up on Eventbrite so that we can ask for more money. Yay, money, thank you. We're at SecKC_ on Twitter, #SecKC on all the things. Anything you tweet with #SecKC will get posted into the Slack random room. Please feel free to interact with us. Our lovely Julie Fugit, who I am not, by the way, runs that Twitter account. She's super, super dope. So anything you see on there, make sure you thank her for that. All right, so now to the really important stuff. We are throwing a fucking DEF CON party again. Yeah, so DEF CON was like, you guys rock, and they were like, we're gonna give you an official party space. So, DEF CON 27, SecKC has the London Club in Planet Hollywood on Friday night from 10 p.m.-ish till 2 a.m. / whenever the last one of you fuckers leaves. So, we need your help. We need volunteers, so go to the hashtag DEFCON27 party room if you'd like to volunteer. There's a little form that I ask that you fill out so we can get you volunteer swag, t-shirts, tons of stuff. Make sure you have free booze and make sure we can keep track of who all wants to help. We also need sponsors. So if you work, okay, that's cutting out. If you work at a company with a lot of money, please let them come talk to me. We need people to help us buy inflatable couches and mechanical bulls and cowboy hats and a shitload of free alcohol to give out. So if you know someone, if you or your loved one would like to sponsor the DEF CON party at SecKC, please send them my way. Also, Brian. SecKC.org/party. That's our primary homepage for all party things. We do have 3 awesome DJs this year. 2 of SecKC's own, Archwisp and Professor S, who is also known as Aaron. I don't know, you've got a lot of handles. But they played last year, they're coming back again, so give it up for them. Thank you. And I don't know if Aaron's that good, honestly. No, really, they're really great. But we have a special guest DJ. DJ Keith Myers will be playing at our party this year. So for those of you who don't know, he's a pretty big name DJ in the DEF CON community. So we are also powered by DEF CON parties, which is super legit because he likes to hand out free shots and make people black out and have a great time. Yeah. So, yes. And the last part of this is we are doing, once again, party badges? Yeah, party badges, not VIP. Party badges, thanks to the help with our friends Badge Pirates. So it is a little sheriff's badge. It is going for, anybody remember from last year? Yeah, $10 for normal folks. We do have a handful of the coupons called Fuck $5. Left. Okay, well, 3 people say fuck $5. Go to the SecKC.org/party website, pre-order this. This is so that we can self-fund this party. It lights up, it's got a break-in-case of Party Star, and it's super, super legit. And honestly, what else are you gonna do with fucking $10, right? Like, what's better than helping the community? So, if you wanna help us out, please go to SecKC.org/party or to that Slack room. We would super, super appreciate it. You don't even have to be going to DEF CON to help. Like, I need people to help make movies and like tweets because we like are getting plastered all over DEF CON, so yay. All right, here's our agenda tonight. 101, you're here with Tri-Wolf, that's me. We're gonna get into news in a bit with Aaron, who likes to scream things, and it's gonna be really, really awesome. We're gonna have tons of social times, and then we're gonna go into Steganography 101 with that guy, Arden. Then we got some more time to buy swag. You can head back to the right-hand corner, talk to Badge Pirates, take a look at some of these sweet party badges. And then we're gonna end the night with Nate. He's talking about Container Crisis and botnets, I believe. So that's it, thanks guys, let's get started. This is what I was worried about. This isn't gonna fit.
It's breaking.
I don't need that shit.
Well,
I'm holding that bitch.
okay. Fucking baller. You a baller.
I rap.
Hey. So, yeah, just put it back whenever you're done with this.
Okay.
Put it in there. Just be
Phrasing.
sure to stick it in there.
Phrasing.
It's gonna be hard and maybe a little bit tough, but you just gotta stick it in there.
Alright.
You cool with that?
I'm pretty sure I can handle it.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate your help.
Uh-huh.
Hell yeah. That's a good little spit back. Ooh. Yeah, they mentioned that I'm loud. They usually got to adjust the levels for my loud ass. So, alright, yeah, we can let that play out now. That's my lovely intro slide. I don't know how many of you guys saw Brian's tweet earlier this week, but I thought that was pretty fucking funny. It says, is that how you know you've made it? When you get a message asking if you can hack a Clash of Clans account. So, this is a little segment we like to call the news. You tone that down a little bit more if you don't mind. This is going to be 40 things that have happened between last month and this month. I only talk about them for 15 seconds a pop. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I usually trip over my words. I usually swear a lot. There's a great time. You can get these links by joining our Slack channel. That is the channel you can go to. And I'm probably about out of time for this slide too, so we're gonna get cracking here in just a sec. Okay, here we go. So, first and foremost, we had a collection of Venmo data that was published. In fact, all of this is public data, which kind of makes me wonder why everyone's freaking the fuck out about it. It's because nobody realized it was public data. So if you happen to use Venmo, one of the things you should do is change your account to private. Rambleed is a thing that came about. So this utilizes rowhammer-like attacks, but instead of writing to memory, what it's doing is just reading memory, and as a result of that, they are able to read parts of memory that they shouldn't be able to read. Xenotime, this is the threat actor group behind the Triton malware, been found to be scanning our power grids, which again, okay, scanning, not a huge deal, but this threat group does have a pretty, fuck. All right. Facebook is launching a cryptocurrency. Nothing could go wrong there. What's interesting about it is that it has the backing of the likes of Visa, MasterCard, Uber, Lyft, eBay, and Spotify. So things will surely not go wrong, but if they do, it's going to be really fucking bad. Firefox patched a couple of 0 days over the past couple of weeks. One of them would allow you to perform remote code execution on an affected client. The other one was a sandbox escape. So that plus that is really bad. If you use Firefox, please patch. Florida got hit with some ransomware more than once. We'll get into that. This one is regarding Riviera Beach. So they paid $600,000 to get their data back. Bad people. They shouldn't have done that. Yeah, not the only one though. Lake City was the second Florida city that was hit. These guys paid about $490,000 worth of Bitcoin to their compromisers. So awesome, we've got 2 high-profile cases where attackers are like, great, they'll pay. Hey, wait, there's a fucking third one in Florida as well. This one, there's actually not a lot of details about just yet. FBI of Miami has refused to comment on anything or confirm or deny things until this investigation closes. And this isn't even the only ransomware story this month. Apparently it's fucking ransomware month. The Court of Georgia got compromised as well, to the point that they actually, this is a Facebook post of their new webpage where you can just figure out who the fuck to call if you need something. So with all that ransomware, maybe a little bit of good news is in order. The GANCrab version 5.2 decryptor was released. Again, kind of narrow in how much it's going to help. Hopefully you got compromised with that version of GANCrab. Anyway, it is nice to see that decryptors come out. The first of many leaks we have to talk about this month, this one from a company called X Social Media. This one is nasty because what this was doing was asking people to fill out medical history questions to see if they qualify for legal assistance. Turns out 150,000 records containing a bunch of info were stolen. The FBI and the DHS are apparently doing a pretty shitty job of securing the identity of children in court documents that are becoming unsealed. They are leaving the Facebook ID of individuals uncensored. So as it turns out, you can actually take that to Facebook and figure out who the fuck they are. Desjardins Group is some investment group, I don't know, but 2.9 million records of actual members from Desjardins Group were leaked. This one contained, let's see, date of birth, first, last name, social security number, the usual suspects. Orvibo is some Chinese smart home company. They had left an Elasticsearch cluster out in the open. These guys had, over 2 billion logs were compromised in this particular leak. And they have products all over the world. Dominion National was a breach that we heard about this month. Unfortunately, it started 9 fucking years ago. So again, we haven't really heard a lot of details about this one either. Their investigation's ongoing, but social security number, dates of birth, email, all that shit that's already gone. The Maryland Department of it's Department of Labor, excuse me, I'm sorry about that, had some breaches that only impacted specific databases, in particular ones from the years 2009, 2010, and 2014. Wonder what happened to the others. We had 3 universities announce breaches as well. First one was Georgetown University, I think. Second one was Oregon State University. And the third one, close to home, Missouri Southern State University. So I highly recommend looking into that third one. It's interesting what we're considering a breach nowadays. We've got an interesting case that Symantec has found of one hacking group attacking another hacking group. So Turla, in this case, has purportedly taken over and compromised a set of oil rigs infrastructure, which will make attribution even more pain in the ass. We've had yet another BGP fuck up this month, so this time it had to do with one network and their utilization of a BGP route optimizer, and then Verizon's negligence as far as protecting what BGP routes should be moved out. We had an awesome paper released on spoofing 4G LTE alerts. So again, inspired by the Hawaii missile crisis thing and the Trump presidential message, now we've actually got a group of people who have figured out how to send these to a range. Read into that one. This is a kind of cool story, cool in the weird sense. So Silex is a piece of malware, kind of like BrickerBot, where its entire goal was to destroy insecure IoT devices. Turns out, though, that the author of this malware didn't realize that this was going to blow up and has pulled it now. Interesting story. Look on that. We've got a report on the evolution of phishing. So again, probably not a huge surprise to people in this room, but it is kind of amazing to take a step back out of the weeds and see how phishing has changed over the years, even over a relatively short period of time. We've got the first known systematic spyware targeting tourists in China now, so entering into a particular province that I unfortunately cannot pronounce. The Chinese authorities are installing spyware on tourist phones. Again, purportedly all this does is look for stuff and remove it, but who knows? We had an app released over in Japan, part of 7-Eleven. 7Pay is what they called that app. Turned out that it was woefully insecure, and they stole, like $500, $600 from some 400 customers or something like that. They'll figure it out. We've got a report here discussing the rise of Mac malware. So it's been a very steady rise, of course, but over this past month in particular, we have actually had 6 new pieces of malware discovered for Mac. Again, not something that used to be as common. We've got an interesting report here on a disinformation campaign, this time leveraging the war crisis in Libya. So in this case, it's not actually a matter of convincing someone that other people are doing different things, but they are using these, look into that one too. We've gotten attacks on OpenPGP's key servers, so essentially there are now poison certificates out there. Nobody knows that they're poisoned until they fuck up someone's PGP installation, and it's only going to get worse from here. That comes from the authors of the OpenPGP key store, by the way, or the maintainers of it. So this is the best dumpster fire so far, the Zoom 0 day for the Mac client. Yeah, good luck fitting all this into 10 fucking seconds, right? Long story short, update your shit because Zoom isn't going to do it for you, and they're not going to tell you that you should. We had yet another outage, but this time it was actually Cloudflare's fault. This is kind of what we like to see, though, whenever a company makes a big mistake. This is a blog post from Cloudflare explaining the outage was an 85% spike in resource utilization due to a bad regex rule. We had a set of Miami-Dade County body cam videos found for sale on the dark web. Again, a lot of that is public knowledge, but that can be tampered with and could have implications for the forensic validity of that incident, or of that footage. Turns out that Amazon is capturing, recording, and storing Alexa recordings indefinitely. So if you've got an Amazon anything, fucking destroy it, as you should have a long time ago. But here, now you have proof on why you should destroy it. I don't know when the US decided that we were going to start talking shit and talking about all the stuff that we were going to do on a cyber attack front, but John Bolton's doing that shit. And that's having about the effect that one would expect. Namely, Russia's pissed off and is saying, oh, hey, you guys are doing that? We're going to fucking hit you back. So, again, talking shit doesn't work on a personal level. Surprise, surprise. It doesn't work on the political stage either. Maybe don't fucking do it, or you anger some people. We've got a story from Celebrite here, or rather a report from Celebrite, basically showing us that, hey, again, all of that mobile data that you think is difficult to get into, we can still do it. Again, they only make this available to law enforcement, so we'll never see this in bad guys' hands, ever, because it only is used for law enforcement, surely, all the time. We had a recall of some YubiKey FIPS devices, so these only affect the FIPS branding of YubiKey keys. If you don't have a FIPS branded YubiKey device, it doesn't affect you. If you are affected, they are actually replacing the motherfucker free of charge. That's how much faith they have in their product. We had reported the first malware to use DNS over HTTPS, so if you happen to work in an organization like me that doesn't do TLS inspection for one reason or another, say goodbye to all of your passive observation data, because that's about to go out the fucking window. We've got a set of tools that you can take a look at now, so I don't know if you know me very much, but I like a good pun. This tool is called Malcolm, and you put it in between your Zeek deployment and your SIM, so it's Malcolm in the middle. It's fucking awesome. Look into it, it's cool. We had the people at Coalfire Labs release a tool called Slackor, so you probably use Slack at work. And if you don't, well, okay, cool. But anyway, it's very common on the enterprise network. This is a C2 channel using Slack. That'll be really cool to play with as well. Mozilla made a really neat tool. Basically, if you think that ads are really creepy in how they track you and you think that's weird, okay, yeah, it's super true. So they actually allow you to click. You can say that you're an influencer, that you're something or another. Basically, it's an education tool about ads and how they track you. And then finally, we've got this tool called Sooty. I hope the GIF is playing. Yeah, it is. This is for all of you blue teamers that are sick and fucking tired of parsing email headers, figuring out who the abuse contact is, blah, 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 blah. Automate that workflow. Do that shit. And that is the news, my friends.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that. I'll bring the Buddha.
He's got them good transitions. All right. Real quick, we were talking in the Slack channel today about what we should do here in this little spot, because we had a lot of time. Someone said, oh, we should have a tool talk. And some other people said, oh, we should talk about how to encourage new people to show up. And I said, hold my beer, which is funny because I don't fucking drink. So I came here to talk to you guys about SecKC, which is the best fucking tool. Now, you might have heard me yell out earlier, we got stories. All right, so that's gonna be something I'm talking to you tonight, a particular story, and my story of how I went from just a wee little hacker to be to whatever the hell you wanna call what I am now. So, let's set the stage. It's 2014. Where am I? As it turns out, I'm in some movie theater in Overland Park watching a bunch of crazy ass hackers do a really cool presentation, a bunch of really cool presentations. That's me, a starry-eyed InfoSec professional to be, I guess we'll say, because I didn't have a job at this point. I was just in college. And this event was called SecKC. It was really fucking cool. We did it one time. We haven't done it any other time. I don't know whose dick I gotta suck to make it happen again, but show it to me. Let's do it. SecKC was awesome. So, after going to SecKC, I thought, wow, these guys are awesome. Let's start going to these events, all right? The event that you are at right now. Another show of hands. How many of you guys, your first time out here tonight? The lights are actually down here, so tonight I can actually see people, which is fucking crazy. I see like a non-zero amount of hands up here, all right? So I was where you were, you know, a couple years back, all right? Coming to these meetings, listening to all these cool talks, meeting all these cool fucking people. And I started thinking to myself, well, how do I get involved in that shit a little bit better? All right, first and foremost, you can do it outside of Slack, but if you really want your pulse on what's going on, join the Slack channel, all right? We talk about this in 101 all the time. But again, 101, there's not people here for 101 sometimes. Join the fucking Slack channel, all right? Especially if you want to help out, but just join the Slack channel. A lot of good information in there, a lot of good people in there. You should do it. So about this time, I guess it's like 2015 right about now, I'm about to graduate, and I'm doing everything that the new college grad gets to do, which is try and find a job and figure out how the fuck I'm going to pay back all those student loans that I've been pimping Uncle Sam for the past 5 years. So one time I came up to a SecKC meeting and I was joking around with some people. This is me, a little fresh-faced, fresh college graduate. Wasn't I so cute back then? And I said, well, you think I could, we had a little segment up here where you would come up here if you were hiring and an employer would be like, hey, I need to hire for XYZ. So I said, well, what if I come up there and I said I was hiring for the position of my boss? Well, Corey thought that was really fucking funny and I was in a suit, so I went up and did it. Now that night, we happened to have a pretty famous speaker. His name is John Strand. He's a SANS trainer. He's a real smart guy. He's a real funny guy. John Strand comes up on stage and says, all right, time for your interview. And so we sat here on stage right there. There was a copious amount of this particular beverage that was available. I had to take a shot of Jägermeister every single time I missed a question. Again, I don't drink. It's a really good thing I had my TA with me that night because my TA had to drive home. So I had the interview with John Strand. I happened to check into the Slack the next day, and the very first message in that Slack, hey, yo, did that guy get a job or what? Right? Everyone's rooting for you at that point. All you had to do was put yourself out there. That's all I did. There's nothing fucking special about me. I just said, hey, can I do this? And everyone said, yeah, that sounds cool. So you might be asking yourself, well, why? Well, how is it that you guys are so awesome? There's so much production value going on. You got these got these speakers, you got these DJs. Holy shit, how do you do it? True facts is the SecKC itself, it's all about the members, all right? We wouldn't be shit if we didn't have members that volunteered their time and came up here and did shit like this, played music like that, and threw parties like that for y'all. I want to show you guys something that I've dug out of the archives. Don't tell anyone I showed you this, but this is how SecKC content is generated, all right? Someone comes up with a cool idea, a bunch of people are like, yeah, that sounds fucking cool. And then literally everyone just talks about how fucking cool it is until someone's like, all right, I'm gonna do this thing, by the way. So, how do we get that? We need your help. All right, y'all seen Space Jam? Is that GIF playing? Hell yeah. Space Jam's the shit. One of these days they're gonna make a second one. Anyway, point being, in order to stay awesome, we really do need y'all's help, all right? We need more people that are willing to just come up here and do shit. Talk about what it is that you do. Talk about what it is that you find interesting. If you don't think you could talk about anything that you find interesting, why don't you ask some of the other people that are already volunteering, say, hey, how can I help? I would like to make this a more awesome group. What can I do to do that? I guarantee you, if you join that Slack channel, if you join that Slack, I should say, and then you join, talk about it in general. Join SecOps, if you would. Join Outhouse, because it's the best channel in our Slack ever. Let's hear it for Outhouse. That's right. Someone said yeah before I even said let's hear it. That's how fucking awesome it is. So all this stuff that I do for SecKC, all right, that's cool. Do you get anything out of it? Yeah, as it turns out, you do. The whole reason that I DJ, yep, that's SecKC. They've given me all the opportunities I've had to lay down some sweet beats. I even, if you search my name on YouTube, some videos fucking come up now, thanks to SecKC. By the way, can we just note that my home network security monitoring talk is at 99 views, and if someone could make that my first triple-digit YouTube video view, that would just really stroke my internet boner real hard. I would love you for it. Thank you. So really, that's our tool talk here. No questions, because fuck you, but help support SecKC. Thank you very much.
You thought it was going to be on a real tool, didn't you, motherfucker? I got you. I got you. You fucking right, I'm the best tool. Where the music, Johnny? Fuck. What? Are you fucking kidding me?
Flip a switch. Let's go. Freestyle. Go.
This is the SecKC rap again. That's my jewel.
Now I gotta follow that.
It's not much, I just said, come on.
Oh shit.
Actually, can I introduce you, Arden? Oh yeah, I do.
From the SecKC Northern Farm Club.
But we ain't there yet.
That's fine, take your time.
Start prepping, right?
I don't know that he's seen what I listed as his location for B-Sides VC's training this upcoming year yet. Did you happen to see that by chance?
No.
All right,
What's
cool.
that?
You'll see if it gets accepted.
What? Oh yeah. No, I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Knock knock. Hey, before you start, or when you're finished, would you mind doing a shout out that I'll do live interview for Junior sysadmin behind the STF12 show?
Okay.
I'll do it after you do that.
Just go ahead and do that.
I'll do that.
Yep. All right.
I'm introducing you. I'm gonna point out that that's what you're wearing. In other context, it sounds really weird. It's awesome. Alright. Live interviews, you said? Live interviews. Oh shit, okay. Alright.
Somebody needs to focus, huh?
I'll
The live
admit.
demo's gonna be a little interesting. I guess I'll like slide over here to do the demo so I can actually see.
Yeah.
might not have a better option. I don't know if he's seen me or not.
He just put his hand up.
Okay,
although
cool.
I don't know if he knows what that means.
Yeah.
There we go.
Guess who? Hey. You guys know who that guy is? That guy's that guy. Oh, really? That guy's that guy. So that guy is going to come up. He's going to talk to you guys about some stego here and some other stuff too. A couple things before we do. First off, I've just been told that we have live interviews taking place behind the shut the fuck up wall for a junior sysadmin position here in Lenexa. Look for the guy. So there's apparently a sign, but there's a guy with a hoodie on that says, was it husband, daddy, love? Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, look for that hoodie. It makes sense within context, but yeah. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to introduce that guy is that I just got done telling you guys about why you should volunteer and all that jazz. One of the things you might have said to yourself is, well, I don't know if I have time for that. Hey, that guy, where do you come out from?
A little north of Des Moines, Iowa.
He lives in a potato patch, people.
Corn.
And for those, I'm sorry, corn patch, my bad. And those of you that don't know, I come out from Columbia to come to these events, so no excuses. Anyway, with no further ado, I don't know what shit talk I just heard from up here, but you can say it to my face. I really didn't hear you, though. I bet it was funny. Anyway, TG, take it away, my dude.
All right. So I am that guy, occasionally also known as Arden Meyer. I've given a talk here before. Last time I gave a talk, somebody was giving me some shit as I walked up on stage, so I threw back with the standard, how many black badges do you guys have? Here's a few of our collection from SecDSM. Also, what we do with these, we do use them as a scholarship. So everybody down here at SecKC, you're welcome to apply for these as well. Moving on. So this talk, I was out here a couple months ago. Caleb gave a talk on cryptography 101. That kind of inspired me. I thought, well, let's give a simple talk on Steganography 101. So I got hold of him, stole his slide deck, stole his first slide, and even his theme. So some of this should probably look very similar. Anyhow, so Steganography, like I said, even stole his slide, his GIF. But this is not going to be a deep dive. This is going to be an introduction. Yes. So we have a problem. How do you hold a covert conversation when you know that everybody is watching? Also, how do you talk without anyone knowing that you're holding a private conversation? That's steganography. Now the difference here, we have cryptography. That's what Caleb talked about. That's the practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of third parties where they're listening. Those are our adversaries. We know they're listening. Steganography is the practice of concealing a file, and the house lights just came up. Concealing a file, message, image, or video within another file, message, image, or video. Why not just encrypt, right? Well, in some places, you might find that encryption's illegal, or you might find that your adversary has no problems taking a very large wrench to your knees. So if we want to send something, we need to use stego. So steganography is concealed writing. Now this has been around for a while, like a couple millennia and change. One of the first known versions is from like 2,500 years ago plus, 2,600 years ago. The Greeks used to send messages by shaving the head of a slave, tattooing that message, letting their hair grow back, and then shipping their slave off to the destination. A little after that, we also have some documentation where they would take a wax tablet, which has a wooden surface. They would put the message on the wood, then cover it in wax, and then write some innocuous message on the wax and send it to their recipient. The recipient would know to scrape off the wax and actually look at the board. Now, in a little bit more modern times, we have several examples here. We start with the Bacon cipher. Invisible ink that we've all seen from our spy movies, writing the message in very tiny print and putting it underneath the postage stamp. Using different typefaces or fonts, using microdots. Who here knows what microdots are? LSD. Well, that's usually not micro. Those are usually a little more macro. We can see those. But no, so microdotting, and I saw several hands pop up, is actually still used, or is currently used. It's required to be used by, we're just playing with all the lights tonight, required to be used on color laser printers. So anything that you print, say you try to print your own versions of the $20 bill or the $100 bill, the Secret Service can find the microdots on that and identify back to the printer. We've also used coded knots in sewing. So this was common on the Underground Railroad and in the Civil War era. And then another example is fifth word. I've got an example of fifth word coming up right here, but I also decided to cite a friend of mine. She actually used a modified version of fifth word to rickroll one of her students' teachers. But this is the example that I actually have. So fifth word is actually, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the fifth word, it's just what's commonly used. But this is actually still very common in prisons today. You want to get a secret message out, and of course you know that the COs are examining all of your mail. You encode your secret message in every nth word, and your recipient knows how to decode that. This is an actual example that the FBI had intercepted somebody's message. Okay, moving on. So in Stego, we have a handful of key terms. Cover media, that's the original photo before it's been altered. Capacity, when I reference capacity, I'm talking about the maximum number of bits that we have as potential data, capacity as potential in the message. The secret message, obviously, that's what you want to send. And then the Stego media, that's once you finalized it. So some of the examples from the digital era. The easy ones, well, file metadata. So in all of your pictures, your movies, there are hidden data, so that gives you meta, so your date, time, camera model, settings, the location. Some of them even just have a blob text field for a description. You can put your data in there. Anybody looking at the pictures, anybody watching that video, they don't see that information. That's a common, easy place. We also have alternate data streams. Now, your ADS, that's originally for file system compatibility between operating systems. Anybody in the house, not that I can see you now with these lights in my eyes, but anybody in the house use an old Macintosh, like System 6, System 7? In order to have compatibility with the Windows file systems, the old Macintoshes had every file had two data forks. There are two forks in the file, There's the data fork and the resource fork. In order for them to work on Windows, they use alternate data streams to encode the resource fork. Well, we can also use those ADS for other uses. We can also add data past the end of file. So in all of your standard file types, there's a magic number at the beginning that helps us identify what type of file this is. And then there's a certain sequence of characters that represent the end of file, but there's nothing that prevents us on the file system from adding data past that. So whenever you open up the picture in your web browser or in Paint, it knows where that EOF is, it stops there. But if I know that it's hidden there, I can open it in a different editor and I can pull that data. Some of the others, we have video. Video with MP4, MOV files, H.264, these different codecs, we can embed. There's different points in these that we can all embed. Audio, whether it's the OGG, MP3, waves, all of these have minor bits that we can manipulate without altering the human perception of those sound files. Most commonly, imagery, so pictures, whether it's the BMP, JPEG, PNGs. Now here we want to be a little cautious because we want to not lose data. So with JPEG, we can use a lossy compression, and that can cause us problems. But if we're using bitmaps or PNGs, with those, we have lossless compression, so we won't lose any bits. We can also do steganography in text-based, whether that's basic text, HTML, PDFs, XML. We can manipulate bits we can manipulate this data and to the normal editors, it still looks like a normal file, but there's hidden data in there. So the talk was originally set up as a choose your own adventure. So this is the point where we need to make a decision. Which type of digital stego do we want to talk about?
Video.
I heard imagery. Imagery. In case anybody hasn't caught on, this isn't really choose your adventure. I chose the route. It's PowerPoint. I've only loaded so many slides. If you really want to talk about video stego, we can talk afterwards. So within the imagery, there are different types of algorithms that we can use. One, the most common, is least significant bit. So within your imagery, in a grayscale, you have 8 bits typically that's used for every pixel. In your color, in RGB, you have 8 bits for blue, 8 bits for red, 8 bits for green. So within that, we can take the least significant bit of each one of those color streams. Doesn't really work very well if you're using true black and white photos, but we also have 2 LSB, so second least significant bit. Now this occasionally gets interpreted 2 different ways. So some people will interpret 2 LSB as meaning just that second plane. So we're leaving the least significant bit alone and only using the second least significant bit. More commonly, it means that we're using both the least and the second least significant bit. So if this were a color photo, using 2 LSB for every single pixel, I have 6 bits of capacity. Another common algorithm in digital imagery stego is the bit plane complexity segmentation. Now, this is encoding data in the complex areas of the image, meaning where there's a whole lot of variance in that photo, not a consistent, like my slide would not be a good photo, because it's mostly, there's only 3 colors and they're mostly giant fields. But one of the big advantages with BPCS is without altering the image so that it can be detected by the human eye, we can usually reach 50% capacity. So that's the equivalent of using 4 LSB. Whereas, again, on LSB, you have 12.5% capacity. And then one of the other things you can do is custom algorithms. Like, for example, XORing the message with the second least significant bit, and then storing it in the least significant bit. That's actually what I did a few years ago on some challenges that I had made for a couple of CTFs. And it turns out I was a little too much of an evil schmuck because nobody solved them. Another common technique is if you have enough capacity, don't go sequentially, use every nth pixel, so like every 3rd pixel, every 12th pixel, if it's a small enough message in a large enough container. Then you can also, one of the other alternatives is doing a thing called pattern chasing. So instead of going in a sequential line, you maybe start at 0, go down, over, up, down, or over, down, over, up, over, down, and like that in a certain pattern. Kind of look like a Turkish map. So again, this is another point where we're at a decision point. Which of these algorithms do we want to talk about? I heard least significant bit. All right, perfect. So this is an example for LSB. How many colors do you see up here? I hear a lot of random numbers being shouted at me. I think if you're all honest, most people will only see 1 color. In reality, there are 8 different colors up here. Now I've pulled up the RGB values, and we can see that the top row versus the bottom row, I've altered the red bit by 1. The left from the right, I've altered the green bit by 1. And then the middle 2 columns versus the outer 2 columns, I've altered the blue bit by 1. But the human eye does not see any difference there. So this is where we can actually hide our data. In this example, like I said, I've got 3 bits of data, and the human eye is not going to detect that. So this example right here is just of those 8 previous, this is the lightest and the darkest example from that. And I've broken it out to show you the binary. And most importantly, there is your least significant bit. So these are the bits that we're going to be altering to store our hidden message. Now, just for fun, here's 2 LSB. How many colors do you see here? 15. I loved hearing that. Okay, in this example, actually, I've only put 2 colors up, but they are the greatest contrast. So I've got the brightest one on the left, the left, and the darkest one on the right. And the RGB values are up there, and you can see I've actually altered the least 2 significant bits. These are 4 pixels apart, or 4 color shades apart in red, green, and blue. And I can't see the difference even on my laptop screen. On my 4K monitor at home, I can barely see the difference. So, in this example, like I said, for every pixel, I can store 6 bits of data. So let's talk about some modern uses of steganography, because a lot of people think that it's just an old technique, it's part of history, or that it's used only in CTFs or for fun. We can actually use steganography to subvert your network perimeter scanners, right? Who does in-depth scanning of all of your HTTP traffic, and you're actually looking for certain signatures, like, I don't know, Mimikatz, right? Well, this individual, or I don't have the individual, but if you go to that GitHub, there's a PowerShell script that somebody wrote that will take any data, any executable you want, embed it into an image, download it, and then pull the executable back out. And it's written purely in PowerShell. Using this, you can embed Mimikatz into a 1600 by 1200 headshot. It fits into that small of a picture, and you now have Mimikatz, and you brought it across your perimeter, or your adversary's perimeter, that is, without them noticing. Another modern use is actually hiding sensitive underground data. So say you're in an oppressive regime, and you want to send out a message to your fellow activists on where and when to meet, but you know that the government is monitoring everything you do. Embed your information in a picture of kittens and post it to your social media. Or if you need to keep a list of, or actually for, let's say, evidence. So we've got some photos of this oppressive government doing nasty things, and we want to share them with other members of the world. Well, we embed that photo inside of another photo. So all they see is that we're sharing a picture of a nice, beautiful mountainscape or something, and the journalists or other activists, they know how to pull that picture out. So steganography is actually still used, other than just as a example of old techniques or for CTFs. Now, how do we detect steganography? Well, the most common technique is the chi-square analysis. Now, chi-square analysis is designed to find any abnormalities. So in a normal photo, your pixels are not a 50-50 match. But in encryption, the whole point of modern encryption is to make something look like it's truly random. So if we encrypt our data first and then embed it in steganography, it's very easy to detect with chi-square analysis. So the important part of that is don't mix your encryption with your stego. Every tool out there will give you the option to do it. I'm telling you, if you're actually trying to send secret messages without being detected, don't, because it'll get detected. We can detect that 99.9, was it 4 nines, I think, is our current monitors. Another technique for detecting steganography is to take a look at least significant bit and second least significant bit. We can very quickly grab those bits and compare them against the common file magic numbers to see if it looks like there is a JPEG or a GIF, anything like that hidden down inside of there. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say file magic numbers. So file magic numbers, so like for a GIF, every GIF image is going to start with either GIF87A or GIF89A. If you actually look at it in a hex editor or a text editor, honestly. From the hex side, a couple other examples, like MP3s. MP3s in hex, they're going to start FFFB or 494433, depending upon whether they've used the ID version 2 or ID version 1 tags inside that container. So every file starts with a certain magic number. Well, we can quickly scan imagery very quickly. We can scan least significant bit and second least significant bit to see if any of that matches a file signature. These are our common detection techniques. So, time for a live demo. Well, everybody's prayed to the demo gods. Hopefully I still have connectivity. So if you check out the SecKC website, you notice that they added this mugshot of me onto my talk. Did anybody take a look at that picture? Of course, I can't really see right now. Doesn't look like too many people might have been taking a look at that picture. I, of course, embedded some steganography in that picture. So let's see if we can get this live demo to work. I'll leave this up there for about another 30 seconds. If anybody wants to follow along, you'll want to pull up that Mobile Fish website.
That's not fishy at all. Where's the Viking hat?
I left the Viking helmet is at home. On the plus side, for those of you that have already complained that I am wearing a Sec DSM shirt tonight, you'll notice that while I was at DerbyCon, I was wearing a SecKC shirt. Okay, let's see if the demo gods are going to smile upon me or make an ass of me. Now I need to come out here so I can actually see this monitor. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. All right, so we'll start by, I'll let you figure that out. All right. Ken, we broke the mic stand. Okay, so here's that picture. Perfect. All right. So we'll pull that picture down. Let's not save it there. We'll save it here.
You good?
I'm good. All right. So we just pulled that picture down. So Mobile Fish gives us the option here at the top to embed, or they say encrypt, but to embed a message. Well, I've already hidden that, so we want to decrypt or decode. Let's see. There's the picture that I just downloaded. No, that's not it. That's the in case I had demo fail version. Let's keep this live, or let's keep this legit. Where's my downloads folder? There we go. There's the one that I just downloaded. You can see the timestamp. We come down here to stop us from scripting this. They require us to prove that we're human. I tell it to decrypt. I entered the wrong.
Why are you not using Chrome?
Because I've got too many tabs opening Chroma already on this laptop, and I don't want you to see all the nasty stuff I've been looking at.
Solid answer.
All right, honesty always works. All right, let's refresh and start over. I think this page has maybe been up too long. Grab the picture. Open the picture. V59. Hopefully I can read. I swear I'm sober, obviously. What the hell? Well, like I said, demo fail. I can only hack it. I can only click on it so hard. All right. So accept that that's going to barf. If anybody's following along out in the audience, hopefully you saw that you were able to pull that out. Yes, I'm using Edge for my shitty demo here. I can't disagree. Oh, damn it. Thank you, that's better than Jeopardy music at least. All right, so if that would have worked correctly, what we would have gotten out of that is a text file for my talk. Damn it. Anybody else hate Windows 10? By the way, I'm very thankful that we are not rated down here because if I have to watch my language at SecDSM. Okay, so that's the message that's embedded. Now that looks exactly like what you see on the website, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, guess what? I put Stego inside of Stego. So if I actually open this with a hex editor, which of course is going to open up on the wrong monitor, because Windows, right? We drag the hex editor over here. Now you already saw what that was supposed to, or what that looks like in Notepad. Well, this is what it looks like in a hex editor. Now if you look close, you'll see E2808B. Anybody know their Unicode? That's a non-printing joiner. We typically use that as a 0, and then you see, there we go, a couple more over, we see an E2808 Charlie. This is a non-printing, wait a minute, first one's a non-printing non-joiner, this is the non-printing joiner. So we use the E2808B as the 0 and E2808C as a 1. And put all that together, and we find even more ASCII, and we get 23 is real. Just for Bill. Anyhow, I think by now I've probably gone way over my timelines. Anybody's got any questions, find me afterwards. Screw Q&A. I'm like Aaron, I'm not doing this shit live on the mic. Thanks.
Bring the lights up right in my eyes. In the talk, I'm like,
yeah, but people can see the screen now. So we didn't wash your whole screen out.
Was that it?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. Thanks for the
Good
dongle.
deal. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Watch your step. Oh yeah. Grab the mic. It's muted right there.
This guy?
I'm really curious what you quantify as an emergency announcement.
Oh, it's just a Twitter one. Okay, we have an emergency announcement very quickly. If you have Twitter, can you all please go to the SecKC page and retweet the announcement about the party badge, please? I'm not saying you're required to, but if I don't see you with your phone on, I will personally come over and stand over your shoulder and whisper creepy things in your ear until you do it.
Yellow badge.
Something like, moist. Okay? Please retweet. This will help us sell more badges, and this can be your way of contributing if you're not coming to DEF CON this year. Thank you, guys.
Why do you need 23 more people to see it?
switched it, and it's what we got now.
Well, I switched it because
Is that what happened? Okay.
it was cutting out that minute in it. In the pocket or something. Also, weird thing. I go by Sky.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to call you Noah?
You can.
Old friends are still going to call you Noah.
I've dealt with that.
Of course, I left my...
Just wanted to get it so it's mirrored first here.
You got to change your name online then.
What?
You got to change your name online?
Already did that.
Did you really?
And a new email.
Okay.
Heck, if you pull my Twitter, it's the same.
That's cool. Good.
But
I'll change eventually.
it's fine. It's not like it's the end of the world, I'm just telling you. Ask the hands-free mic, is there anything that you need?
Should be good.
Cool.
Should be good to go. Just gonna mirror it whenever stuff goes right.
What time are you up at?
740?
7:40, that sounds right. I was going to say if it's 7:50. Can I plug the HDMI in?
Yeah, actually I want to configure that. Well, no, like plug it in because I need to configure it once we get. Cool. Except I want to. Oh, I can't mirror it.
Can't what?
Can't mirror it. This is fun.
Really?
Nope, there we go.
It's good.
Yep.
So Warren's going to introduce you. We're
Okay.
going to get this close to you. And
Yep, make sure the pop filter's there.
yeah, but look what it's doing.
There is no such thing as a perfect pop filter. I'll finagle with it.
And then the whole goal is to just get it close to you then. So, there we go. And then, yeah, try to get within 3 or 4 inches of it then.
Yep.
So, okay, anything else you need from us?
Nope, pretty good.
All right,
Just
good
gonna
luck.
grab my beer and then I'll come
Good
back.
luck.
Okay, here we go. We've got our last talker of the night, Nate Johnson, aka Caprico. He's a recent college graduate, former web developer, contributor to the Iron Geek Cast, a weekly podcast, and now a professional hacker. I'm sorry, I'll get closer to the mic. Security consultant. He would like me to mention that his favorite quote is, "I might not have a girlfriend, but have you seen these fucking botnets?" Please welcome Nate, everybody. And of course, we have a tradition here at SecKC for the first time speaker. You have to take a shot. I'm going to be helping him with one of these, but that means he's got 3 to finish before the talk is over, folks.
2.
Please cheer him on and make sure he finishes all 3.
You got one?
I got one.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
3?
Say cheers.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a poor bastard because of my coworkers. All right. So, Container Crisis 3. The 3 is not important. This is the first time I'm giving this talk. It was just a cool title to come up with based after an arcade video game. Can you tell the shots are starting to hit?
You can say it.
Yeah, Time Crisis. Woo! All right. Yeah, now. All right. So, what am I talking about? So, Container Crisis 3, more containers, more problems. Who am I? Abby gave a great introduction. I've been a PHP developer for 2 years, eventually went full stack. Security was a hobby before that. Now it's my job, thankfully. And I've been a contributor for the Iron Geek Cast, and I'm now a noob in the industry. And I've been working in the industry for about 6 months now as an offensive security consultant. So first, some questions. Show of hands, who knows what Docker is? Sweet. Cool, so this is going to be fun. Okay, who's using Docker? Okay. Willing to admit, okay. Okay, who's using it in development? Same hands. All right. Production. Oh boy. Personal use. Sweet. I see the one guy over there. All right, production. This is going to be fun. Okay, and there we go. So, why do we need to care about Docker? First off, it's got the largest market share in terms of container tech. So, next to Red Hat. So, about a third or somewhere, very large portion of the market share in container technology, everyone is using Docker. They're not using Containerd or anything like that. They're using Docker. So, as security researchers, I feel like it was something that I needed to start taking a look at, and I also feel that's something that I should share, to be like, hey, you guys can also take a look at this as well. Also, as of 2018, 25% of companies have adopted Docker, and this includes production environments, development, and their enterprise solution that they have now, which is kind of wrapped into the production side as well. So what I'll be talking about is, for those that didn't raise their hand, I'll do a quick RTFM of what containers are, possible uses for penetration testing. These are just kind of a collection of things that I have used Docker for in my own line of work. Hack the Planet Container Edition, and where I show you a couple of little fun exploits I found when I first started researching this. And then we're going to hack a botnet. kind of. All right. So what is a container? It's like a virtual machine, but it isn't. So Docker likes to throw this image up all the time and show, oh yeah, like we've got this app and this app and this app, and it's all running on this Docker thing, and it's on the host operating system. And then virtual machines, they're all like little versions of this. Well, really when it comes down to it, Docker and containers are like Russian nesting dolls, and each of those apps is specifically put into one little space. So with a Russian nesting doll, you have each of the sequential and dolls that get smaller and smaller the more that you take out. They're meant to take up a specific space. Whereas with virtual machines, you have these giant servers, like 4U server that you have in your server rack that's just dedicated to running VMs. And each of those VMs is like one of these cargo boxes that is on that server, in this case, like a barge, mining barge. Where was I going with that? You could use it for mining, cryptocurrency. We'll get to that. So where is it used? I've already touched on this, production services and developers. Now you can actually go to Shodan and start looking around and actually see that there's a few devices that are actually using this, and you can actually see through Shodan. But we'll come back to this pic later, so just remember that I mentioned this. So for penetration testing uses, I use it to run a bunch of tools. As a developer before this, Docker is great because I hated working around different dependencies and always installing, like, okay, I need lib dash, what the heck am I trying to do now? No, okay, so I just decided, okay, screw it, I'm gonna put all of my stuff into one script, we'll make a Docker image of it, and I can just run it like that, and just compile the image like that. So I've used it for stuff like nmap, Metasploit, Responder, anything. You can pretty much script anything into Docker to build out all the dependencies. So I kind of use it as like scriptable dependency management that I don't have to deal with right now. Like this, actually. So I actually wrote an image that I wrote, okay, yeah, that sentence, that is a Kali VM that I actually built to replace a 60 gigabyte VM, and I'll get to that in a second. So that's just the script. So you can just even do like Docker run this, and then it will boot up a Kali instance for me here, which is super cool. And you'll see the code on how to do that yourselves here in a second. So like I said, my first project, I was in Europe studying abroad, and this laptop doesn't have a whole lot of hard drive space. And I was also doing game development and playing video games, just a lot of video games. So hard drive space was very limited. So I needed to replace my Kali VM, which was 60 gigs, so I made a Docker image. And this is what I wrote. And as you can see, it's pretty easy and simple to just get started on building a Docker image. So this is what's known as a Docker file, and this is actually on Docker Hub for you to just go and download. You don't need to write this out. You can just go to my Docker Hub account and pull this down. Or if you want to make tweaks to this as well, this is the point where you take out your phones and take pictures and whatever. But yeah, this got all of my stuff so that I could do my hack the box stuff in my free time, and any sort of other research that I was doing as well, especially when my friends were like, hey, am I getting hacked right now? No. It maybe. But it worked because I took a 60 gig file of this giant VM that was just taking up so much space, and I couldn't play Elite Dangerous with my buddy, down to 5 gigs. So that was at least my first use of it, so that I could have all my tools and everything, run it as you would a normal VM, and it worked for me. So that was my first foray into it. The next thing, however, started getting interesting, because I started looking a bit more, but I'll get to that after this. So the possibilities are really endless with Docker, which is, I think, their tagline. I don't know why that's my tagline for this. You can really just do anything you want with it. You can use it to spin up a web server. You can use it to spin up a mail server or whatever. For penetration testing, just pick an attack, and you can basically build everything around that. For instance, if you want to do a phishing attack, you can spin up an SMTP server, like I mentioned, a web server where the mail or the email that you send to your target then goes back to that server or that Docker container that's running your web server. And then if you have it download a malicious file, you can also have a session handler there as well. So you can pretty much build everything out, and this can all be running on like your personal machine because Docker doesn't take up a huge amount of space, but you can also kind of tweak it around so that it does take up a bit of space if needed or if it doesn't. But that's a little more in depth than I want to go into for the purposes of this talk, because now we get to hack stuff. So first, getting onto the container. Getting onto the container, pretty much the same way that you would attack anything else, but I'll show that in a second. The next thing, and this is the main difference, is check your privileges. And I'll explain what those are, and then figure out a way to persist. So getting onto containers, kind of the same idea. You might be familiar with the hacking methodology of recon, exploit, resist, exfil, and get all your stuff out. Most of the time, I've seen Docker containers that are built to do web servers or run web applications and stuff like that. So the things that you're going to be going for and probably you're going to see when you're attacking a container, or at least after you exploit something, is you're going to be getting in through some sort of web app fail, like local file inclusion. You're going to be able to upload your shell code. Sorry, shot. Cross-site scripting, and stuff like that. The next thing, though, is Docker has something called the Docker socket. And remember when I said this was going to be fun? Not there yet. Yep, because you're going to really like it when I actually show you what I'm talking about. So, checking your privileges. Are you guys able to see that okay? Because I'm actually, all right. Cool. All right, cool. I just want you guys to see because it's kind of a little bit of a Q&A here. Not really. Okay, so Docker has a bunch of privileges that you can have by default, and these are the ones that are here. These are the default ones. So when you boot up a container, these are the things that the container can do while you're just interfaced to it. So if you're a user inside the container, these are the things that you can do. So you can use kill, you can use change root, set fcat, file capabilities, all that stuff. However, you scroll down on docs.docker.com, on this page at least, there's a couple of things here. So this is what all you can add. So the one that really stuck out to me is the fourth one down. Sysadmin. Why do you think that's a bad idea? And okay. Oh, this is going to be really fun for you. Okay. Also, a caveat: never do these flags. TAC privileged basically adds all of these in one fell swoop, and then cap add all basically does the same thing. Okay. So why does this actually matter? Well, if we boot up my Kali instance, let's just say, all right, cool, I'm gonna just boot up a Kali instance. I'm not gonna give it any additional capabilities or anything like that. And then I try to mount a hard drive, the host's hard drive, to my actual container. I'm gonna get a permission denied. This is a good thing. This is what you should have. However, if you give the TAC privileged flag or the TAC cap add all flag, yeah, you can mount the host hard drive to the container, which is bad. So actually, funny enough, it is a feature, which is stupid. Okay. Which is really weird to me. Why would you think not to do this? Because now I can go in, and this is within a boot to Docker VM that's in a Windows instance, so it's a very stripped down instance of Docker, but I was still able to find, okay, cool, here's my Docker instance, here's the VM. Oh, all your containers are now belong to me. Because I can now pull all of the volumes from this and all the containers from this and get whatever is running on there because I just mounted your hard drive to the container because you set it that way. And that was about all of the research that I was able to do for a master's thesis within like 2 weeks. So there, you got the rundown version of that. I got an A though, which was nice. So next, we're gonna hack the botnet. And I'm gonna take a shot first before we get into that. Nice. All right. All right, so remember how I mentioned the master's thesis? I also had to give some sort of prediction that I had about my topic before I got an A and all this other stuff. So this is what I wrote, and I'm sorry it's wordy, because I wrote this within a week. So the quote was, what I feel that could be a way that Docker can be exploited will be like how botnets are created at this time. And this is a year ago, where we will see Docker containers or shadow containers, which shadow containers, go look at a Black Hat talk on abusing the Docker API. Guy does a really good job going through what those are. Shadow containers being created to make these large clusters for attackers to use to attack internal systems. And that was me back in July 2018. So a year ago, like almost exactly. This is awesome. Good timing. And then this happened. So Monero crypto miners decided to hijack hundreds of unpatched Docker hosts. Now, a Monero botnet was installing these containers using one thing called the Docker socket, which I said before, and just started mining Monero coin using these different hosts. And then it also came out in like a month before that containers had a huge security fail where specifically crafted containers could escalate privileges to the container daemon. So this not only affected Docker, but it also affected Red Hat and all of the other container projects, which was nuts, and that was fun to cover. So for Docker socket fails, I wanted to show it to you, and a guy by the name of, I can't read it right now, but this is essentially what it looks like, and I have links to this video in the slides as well, which I can get to you guys at some way or another. So what he's going to do here is he's essentially going to use Docker's own CLI, or command line interface, to tell a container to give him a shell. So he's gonna just skip through here, and once it goes, I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead here. So this whole thing here is just saying, hey, give me a shell, and open up this netcat listener here. And once he grabs that, which he is as good at doing demos as I am, which is why we're watching him fail a little bit instead of me. And once he runs this here, eventually, as he opens up a new tab in Terminator, skip ahead. So he's got his listener up. Now he's gonna attack that Docker socket. That TAC H there is how you would interface with any of your Docker sockets. So if you have a instance on, say, your Amazon S3 servers or anything like that that's running Docker, that's how you would say, hey, run this image, which is just TAC capital H, and here's the host, go run this thing. And after you see he runs that, he's in. So this is what they were doing during those botnets, and I thought to myself, well, that's kind of interesting, but why is it, it's like there's gotta be more of this. It can't just be like one dude is doing this or anything like that. So I'll go back in here, start from card slide. So one night, and remember I said, remember this picture, I go into Shodan to look around, and I find this. Now, what looks weird about this picture?
It's really small.
Well, that too. I love the China quote. Okay, so it's a little hard to see, and I'm sorry about that, but there are two duplicate images here named Zulu2/Auto. And my thought was, why would you have two different instances running on this? This doesn't make sense, because you would just have one thing doing one map and one thing doing the other. So I got a little curious, probably a little too curious. So I Googled for this guy's username because it was from a Docker Hub account, and those are all publicly accessible. And someone also had thought it was fishy because he had it attack his honeypot, which was super cool. So I talked with him a bit, and we talked on the issue, and we found out the attack was still ongoing, and it wasn't slowing down at all. Like, he was constantly getting hit within like a certain time interval. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna hack this guy, sort of. So, it's not part 2, I removed the demo, it's part 1.
It's time to take another shot.
Oh shit.
This is number 3. Go, go, go.
You're gonna make me type after 3 shots.
Whew. Good job. All 3's done. Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna drink some beer with this too, wash it down. Yeah. I like the guy in the front here. Yeah, that'll help. I've never done that before. Sorry. All right. So the main commands that we're going to be looking at here are docker inspect and docker run, and with that little entry point tag here. And I'll explain what those are when I go into a terminal here. So are you guys able to see this okay, or do I need to make it a little bigger? Bigger. Whoop, that's smaller. That's too big. I can't touch pad. These are my coworkers, and they just yelled, what's Debian? Oh wait, no, was that JD? Oh, he doesn't work for us anymore, it's okay. All right, so first things first, we need to figure out what this thing is actually doing. So Docker in its command line interface has something called docker inspect, which is where you can kind of break down the image and see a JSON output of what it's actually doing. So we'll go ahead and do that here, and it's going to be really big. Now, 2/auto. All right, so the main thing that we're really looking for here, and you might have caught it in the slides, well, we're looking for this entry point here. So this is can you guys see this okay? A little bit? Is it better highlighted or not? Okay, well, we'll just roll with it. So this is the first thing that runs when a image is loaded into a container. That's why it's called entry point. Pretty self-explanatory. But this is where I thought there might be some weird malware here, because entry sounded like a weird name to me. So to actually overwrite this, because we don't want to just run the code and become a part of the botnet, sorry, the shot, Docker, we can just run it as we would normally do, but instead we need to set that entry point, and actually, since the shots are making it hard for me to remember the exact thing, haha, I cheated. So we can actually run this, and okay, now we're in the container. None of the code is run yet. So we are totally within his domain, except we haven't run any of the botnet code yet. And actually, we haven't figured out if it is a botnet or not, so we haven't run any of the code yet. So if we actually look and see, okay, we know it was that /entry file, so I need to look at that /entry file. I didn't install, okay, containers in this instance do not have Vim or VI installed. I am a VI guy to begin with, but there's this man okay. Now you guys can, who's on stage? Do you want to know how I found these guys or not? All right. I'm gonna settle down because otherwise I'm gonna start throwing things. So the first thing I started to notice, okay, looks really fishy, sounds really fishy, Tor is on it. Tor socket. That's not right at all. Why would this be on a Chinese server? Okay, so that was a thing, and I thought, okay, this is a little weird. And, okay, so it's making an SSH server, it's got show daemon, and oh, okay, it's a botnet. That's what, legitimately, that's what I read it as the first like 300 times. And then after I found the rest of the things I'm about to show you, I went back and looked at that and I'm like, oh my God. He literally just said botnet in his own, like the first line of code. It's literally a botnet. So what this is doing, and I was really surprised by this, not at all, it is a Monero mining botnet. Ooh boy. So I, at this point, was going, yes, I found something, woo! I actually did something for once, instead of just looking at it later and seeing a new article and being like, oh, I should have looked into it more. Anyway. So that is essentially the extent of this file, which I was like, all right, cool. So now I gotta look and see what else is in here. So it's running an SSH server, it's running Tor. Let's go look at some of this other stuff. Let's go look at botnet. So if we look here, it said it was going into toolbin, which is right at the top right of your screen there. And I need to CD into it. All right, let's look at what's in here. Oops, that's not helpful at all. See, you guys made it big, so now all my normal commands make it look weird. All right, so we've got botnet, botnet1, config.txt, control.txt, refresh.py, showden, and all this other stuff. So, cool. I don't have to look very far or very hard to figure out what this thing is doing now. So if we actually look at that botnet file, cat botnet, and we just take a look at that. All right, so we can gain a little more information about what's going on here. So if we look at this, it's grabbing this control.txt file, okay? This looks a little odd. It's also grabbing, whoopsie daisy, it's doing the same exact thing as the entry point. So why is it, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But okay, what's this control.txt? So let's take a look at that. So if we cap that out, actually I'll nano it out so it's a little easier for you guys to see, even though Vim is a superior text editor. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. What is this? This is an onion link. Ooh. This is Steganography. I wish. If the guy left me something like that, I would have laughed. And also had a lot of fun. And then probably would have found out it's like, oh yeah, it's the NSA. We were trying to hire people. No. Okay, so we figured out what control is, but okay, we've got a bunch of other stuff here in this thing, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, botnet 1. Okay, we haven't looked at that yet. Botnet 1. Oops. That is a 1. I can't see through this pop filter. All right. Okay, it's basically the same thing. All right, well, okay, cool, dead end. I get real worried that there's another shot coming every time someone walks over there now.
Just you wait, buddy.
I finished, dude, I had 4 shots. I'm not going for a bill record.
We got a full bar for a reason.
Okay. All right, let me finish doing the hands-on keyboard stuff first. All right, so the next thing that I looked at was this XMR remover, or XM remover thing. And I was like, what in the world is this? Because I remembered reading that article that I showed up on the screen earlier, and the botnet was called XMR or something. And so if we actually look at that, he's basically given us, in his own code, a list of other botnets to monitor, which is super cool. And he removes them when the image is booted up. So when that image boots up, it literally grabs this list that it creates on whenever this code is run and says, hey, if you find this in any of whatever, at this point we don't know where it's looking, just get rid of it. So I'm like, okay, so we got to figure out, okay, cool, we've got a list of these things. How is it actually figuring these things out? Remember Shodan? All right, cool. So it actually queries Shodan using, and I actually have to look at this thing real quick. All of these queries that I have been watching for about 3 months before I found this guy. These are every single query that he has ever made to create this botnet within a text file in his own image. So that was fun. Cool. So let's go look and see how he's actually doing this. And, okay, so he needs a username and there's a username and a password somewhere. Where could that be? And if we keep going, and since it is super big now, it's going to take me forever to, oh my god. What? Needless to say, that wasn't the same reaction I had when I first found it. My reaction was, whoa! And I have a bunch of friends on the IRD cast who confirmed that because we were on a call after the podcast when I found this. So, that's not good at all. Because now I have his username and password for, how many was it? 4 different accounts? I think it was 3. 4 different accounts. This is bad. And very, very bad. Shodan accounts. These are all of his Shodan accounts that he's using to make those queries that I showed earlier. Because I love how someone's taking pictures. Dude, they're gonna be like null in like 5 seconds. Well, okay, add them to a password list because obviously someone's using them, so there you go. Or forever, there you go. All right, so taking all of this information, and I just want to make sure that I'm not missing over something real quick. Oh God. Shot. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so config actually is the Monero config, which is just a long, pre-generated thing that Monero coin gives you to be like, all right, here's how you do the thing, configure your stuff so that when the miner runs, it runs correctly. So that's just a configure file. And Darwin is actually a compiled version of the Monero miner, so that is actually more of like a binary file than anything else. So if I cat that out, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense unless you do some weird analysis, or maybe it's Steganography. Anything like that. Show daemon is the same thing. It just is the way that you actually would query it. It's got a bunch of methods in there. But I already had enough information to be like, okay, this is actually something that I can actually put a cause and effect on. Since I found this, I can take this to people and say, hey, shut this down. So that's what I did. So so I pinged a bunch of people to retweet and say, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of someone at Shodan. Please, someone get in contact with me, DM me. And within about a day or so, I posted on my Twitter update, I've gotten in contact with Shodan, and now I'm able to say that the accounts I found from the images are deactivated. Victory screech. Subsequently as well, a developer from Docker was a backend developer was there as well inside of that GitHub issue. So we got that Docker account disabled as well. So he said he disabled it. And by the way, Maj Tomar, he's actually like one of the maintainers of the Docker repos on GitHub, which I think is really cool that he was just in the issue and talking with us, which was also really cool. I never heard from the guy with the honeypot either after that. He kind of just left the issue alone, which I think it was weird. So everything's fine and dandy, right? Like, we took him down, yes! Shh, dang it. So he showed up again. And the reason he showed up again, and why I know he showed up again, is if you see right here, and it's really small, Pavlov 32/auto. He didn't change anything, and from what you guys already seen, and I've shown you, this looks exactly the same, because it's the same dude. So, went ahead, got all the usernames for this. He didn't change anything. Like, he just said, all right, screw it. I'm just gonna make a new user and just put out my botnet, and I'll just mine a bunch of stuff, and that's it. And he didn't change anything. So all the same spots that I just showed you, they were all still there. It was just different usernames. So I got in contact with Shodan again, got in contact with Docker Hub again, and was just like, okay, cool. Maybe 2 times he's gonna be just He recreated Zulu 2. Like, no joke, he just recreated Zulu 2. This time he made it J auto. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna grep that at all. Also, what? Yeah. So the other cool thing about this slide is it was really easy to track this guy down and figure out if someone that just like downloaded or saw the tweet or whatever and just said, hey, I want to play around with this, maybe I want to use this as a miner or whatever, and just see how this runs. Oh shoot, I accidentally ran it as an externally facing application. No, okay, the dude pulled it 5,100 times. That means there were 5,000 different instances on a couple thousand machines that were pulling this image down. And all of them in arrow. And this is actually the first screenshot where I grabbed it the first day that it was up. And by the time I got a hold of Shodan and everyone, because this was late at night and whatever, so Shodan emailed me at like 8 or something in the morning. I'm not up. And they said, okay, cool, we took it down. I went back and I checked the Docker Hub account, 10,200. He literally just pulled everything down again and doubled it. It was nuts, but got that taken down and it was all good. And then this time he came back another time. But this time I could actually draw, and this is actually helpful. I'm like, okay, cool. He used the username of the second time that he made the Docker Hub account, Pavlov32, as his Shodan query account. This guy's OPSEC is awesome. I can't say that with a straight face at all. Yeah, so grab his passwords, sent them over to Shodan, sent it over to the Docker Hub for the 5th time, or it felt like, or whatever, and that was that. Oh boy. So, and again, he just made Pavlov32 again. This has been a jarring experience. So, you didn't know this, but this is actually a tool talk and not what you saw earlier. So I decided one day, screw it, I'm gonna write a tool that will help me figure out and track where this guy is going. So I made a tool aptly named and granted one of my coworkers who can't be here today
and I wish I could dedicate the naming to him in person, but he gave me the name Dalek because we need to exterminate the botnets. So I wrote a tool, it's up on GitHub now, where you can where all of you guys can go ahead and just query Shodan from the command line, and also it will give out a full report of what you're looking for and like what is returned in like a text file format that you guys can grep through. So I've been using this to kind of track him down, and okay, still there's some work that I need to do with it still, but it has helped. And he's shown up a bunch of other times, but I can't go into those for reasons. So if you guys want, whenever these slide decks come available to you, it's also up at github.com/caprico1/Dalek. And you can go ahead and play around with it. And I also do some other stuff with it as well, which I'll get into in a second here. So conclusion, should you use Docker? Yes, but tread very, 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 very carefully, because as you can see, it can either get like a critical vulnerability comes out, everyone and their mother starts exploiting it, and now you're a part of a Monero mining botnet. But if you follow some of the best practices that are available to you, like some of the things that I mentioned, like don't run a privileged container, make sure that your Docker socket isn't externally available to the internet, and you'll be pretty much fine. So for my next steps and probably some other upcoming talks is I'll come up with some ideas on how to use Docker for more penetration testing ideas, because it is a great tool. It's not something where this talk isn't something to be like, oh, get rid of Docker, it's the bane of all of our existence for the next 15 years. No, it's something that we can use so that we can make our lives a little bit easier, but we also have to be aware of the things that can go wrong with it, just like with any other technology. So for my instances of things I'm going to start looking at are command and control servers, where I can be like, hey, I'm going to take all of his stuff, but make it so it sends PowerShell into an Active Directory system. Did you know that Microsoft is putting Azure containers out there now? Yeah, I hear someone laughing in the back. So PowerShell, Empire staging, command and control servers, and then I want to figure out a way to actually figure out what you're, instead of like tinkering around with like, okay, does mount work? Nope, okay. Actually getting an actual scanning tool so that when and if you get onto a Docker container and after you exploit some sort of like web vulnerability or whatever way that you got a shell onto the system, figure out what commands am I actually able to run? What kind of capabilities do I have? So that's the next step for me, at least, which will probably be in a tool talk that I will show to you guys as well, because this has been a great experience. And that is pretty much it. And Q&A, there we go. Okay, so I've got actually like 10 minutes for Q&A. Have I gone over time? No?
Sure, why not?
How'd you get into your system in the first place?
Seriously, what's Debian? Click it harder.
Everyone say JD, go away.
JD, go away.
That worked?
How many containers do you think you have? Like how many bots?
How many bots do you think I had? Do I think he had? The time that I ran the so I essentially took Dalek and grabbed all of his queries that he did, and I maxed out all of the credits that I had on Shodan in like 4 seconds, and I found about 1,300 different devices. So as you saw in the first slide where I said that's kind of suspicious, he would have on average about 2 or 3 different images there. And so 2 or 3 images times 1,100, about 4-ish thousand different images that were mining Monero coin at the same time.
And all of those were at 99% efficiency, by the way. So it literally clocked the CPU to do 100%, which is something that I kind of glossed over.
Do you think there was really 10,000 polls, or was he just boosting his star count on Docker?
So the other thing too is with the pulls, he had a function in here. Actually, I'll show it to you guys. That is not the right terminal. Okay, so this rip function, or file here, all right. What is this?
Hi. So we have a tradition here at SecKC. When you finish your first talk at SecKC, you get a Jaeger shot, my friend. And it's a fucking double.
Can we just give him the bottle already?
All right, now it's a handheld mic. Whoops. Stay in school, kids. This is what happens. You get a bunch of free booze when you find something really stupid. I'm gonna try and attempt to put this back in here now.
You just gotta push really hard.
What was that? That was awesome. Can you say that louder? No, come on, say it louder.
My password is Hunter 2.
Ah, so you're the guy I fished at work. Sorry, say that again? So, yeah. So the thing that they were exploiting, remember how I showed that video of someone just connecting to the Docker socket? Instead of just getting a reverse shell onto it, they were putting their own images on there. So they would just pull that, they would say, hey, Docker, pull down my image from Docker Hub, which was Zulu2/auto, and when that image would run, it would immediately spin up a Monero miner as that image, and that would just take over anything else. And also, another thing too, to point out, when it was scanning all of those and querying all those stuff, while it was mining, it was querying Shodan and then sending stuff back to that Tor server to say, hey, here's all the IPs, and then it would also kill any of the other botnets that it knew about on that device as well. So that, I kind of went on a tangent there. Did that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Yes. Yes. No, some of them actually are kind of funny. I found there was one. I named it Darmok because it was called Darmok. Who here has watched Star Trek?
What's that?
Okay, so who knows who Darmok is? I have no idea who Darmok is. But apparently, after doing some research, some guy, and this is a whole other talk, I could do like 5 different talks on these kind of things, but he decided to make a botnet that the command and control server, it was kind of the same kind of thing that Zulu 2 made, but instead, he had it running a command and control server via an IRC bot inside of a Star Trek, like, role play IRC. And I'm like, what have I just stumbled on? As I was someone who used to do RP inside of MMOs. But, coffee calling the kettle black there. Yeah, so I have followed a bunch of other botnets. I have taken down a couple more. There was one that